CRO. Now it's called Cronos. So I'm using the OKX chart because it has the most data and it has quite good volume. It launched a long time ago, 2018. And if I can get the all-time low, which is there, 0.1149. Do that. So that's the all-time low. Copy. Time low. Probably there. That's the all-time high. Okay, we've got the two. Let's get rid of this one now. Doing the volume pool and the whole range. Can't really see where the previous volume was. Look here. No, it was not significant. The most of the volume came here and here. That's fine. No problem. Do a fib pull as well. I'll do two actually. I'll do one from the bottom. That's quite good. Came back into the golden pocket from the low to the high. So something I can't see here. If you have a look here, it'll be a lot easier to see. Is the move from the low here. See that? So you had the launch, came to the lows, then you had one impulsive up, came back down to the low 12 of March 2009 there. So basically what I'm looking at here is that was your kind of your impulse up, then down. So I'm assuming that was the one, this is the two. I'm assuming, I'm not 100%, but I'm just guessing. So let's just say for the sake of argument, it was like that. I'm not sure. Doesn't look right. The reason why it doesn't look right is because the 4 can't come underneath the 1. I'm gonna have a look. One, two, three. Nope. 1, 2. Okay, I see it. June 21. So the one actually kind of comes here, that wick you almost have to ignore. And so this 3 was really, it was to there. You have a 4 to there, which kind of comes to the, it's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Let's just kind of map this out a little bit better. So the low came in to, what does it say here? December the 17th, 2018. Can't really, don't really know where that is, but it was somewhere here. It's July. We ignore that wick. December 7 of 12. Down. 7 of 12. 7, 12 of 7. 12, 7. Somewhere here. That could work, huh? Just have a look at this. Roughly. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that works. That looks good, huh? Because you have fib time that lands correctly on the low. And then you have this high here. Okay. Let's just not quite sure where this lands. It's hard because you don't have all the data. That's a 1-to-1 from the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5. You had a nice 1-to-1 there. So the 5 only did the 1-to-1 on the 3, and not crazy extended. And this potentially is a 1-to-1 as well. It's basically a 1-to-1 as well. So in effect, it was like 1-to-1. 3 was a little bit extended, but it did a 1-to-1. And then you had another 1-to-1. So 3 was slightly longer than the 1. So therefore, 5 could have been longer. that's effectively what you're looking at. And from the all-time low CRO to the all-time high did an 82x. But most people wouldn't have gotten there. Most people might have gotten here. So they did a 35x. Right, so that's kind of what we're looking at now. From let's put this and this into its own group. I'll leave that for now. So potentially we're looking at the next 5 waves, potentially. If we had 5 up, corrective down, and now we're looking for a 5 wave up to make the wave 3 of the higher time frame 1, basically 1, 2, 3. It's basically what we're looking at. And if you were to just have a normal straight 1-to-1 from there to the top, down to there, just a normal, just a 1-to-1 will take us to $4.1 thereabouts, even $4 from the current price action to $4. Could be looking at a 44x potentially if it does a 1-to-1 in this whole wave 3. This would be the whole complete wave 3 if it does a 1-to-1 of that whole first move. There's something to bear in mind. The good thing about the price action is that we've come nicely into the golden pocket. As soon as we came back above this lower part of the golden pocket, what we had was a swing failure of this low. The price came back up, it just impulsed out of the lows here. That was probably about September, October. So from basically October or October, the price rallied, potentially forming the wave 1 of the next 5 waves. And now potentially we're in some kind of corrective 2, ready to kind of launch into the next part of this move. Clearly you can see that the 50% is, hear me? Oh, that sucks. I've literally done all this analysis and there was no volume. Unbelievable. No volume, huh? Terrible. What the hell? Oh God. I don't know what to do now. I just did it. I pressed the button and it didn't deactivate. All right. Back to square one. Shall I just delete it all and just redo it? Or should I just go over what I've done? Don't know. Okay, I'm not going to delete it because it's pointless. I'll just quickly recap. It'll be a short video, but actually that's probably better. So I'm using the Cronos OKX chart. It has a lot of volume and it has the most data. When I took the data from the coin market cap and I used the all-time low printed here and also the all-time high, and the token goes way back to 2018. We don't have that data, so this is the best chart that I could find, which is the OKX one. It's weird because the crypto.com one doesn't have all the data. So looking at So looking at this, I do see that there's potentially some kind of 5 waves in this first part, from the low here to up here, 1, down to here, and then you have some kind of 3 up to here, and then you have a 5. So it's hard to see, but basically what I was looking at was something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really disgusting. It doesn't look good to me, but potentially could work because you have the 4 back tests to 1. You've got these kind of crazy wicks. It's a bit weird because from the 2 to the 3, I can't really see 5 distinct waves. So I'm not 100%. I'm not crazy about it, but the reason why it could work is because when I did a fib time from the 0 to the 3 to the 4, we get the 618 lands at the bear market, kind of the bottom here. The 1 is kind of coming into this crop of the end of the 1 here. So this could be in play. It's like, it's really ugly, but it could be in play. So on that, just going based on this thesis, when I look at from the move from the bottom here to the 1 to the 2, you kind of have a 1-to-1. So from there to there to there, there's a bit, it's like a 1-to-1. And if you do exactly the same thing from the let me hide that again. If you do exactly the same thing from this bottom to here to, let me just delete it. From this bottom to here, you also have a 1-to-1. So if this is the 1, that's a 1-to-1, and then from here to here is a 1-to-1. So it doesn't look too bad. It's it looks like it's doing a 1-to-1 on the extensions, on the fib trend-based fibs. This could potentially be a 2 all the way down, and then this could be the beginning of the 1, and this is like the wave 1, and then we're in a 2, and so this whole thing could be the first part of the move up. Who knows? Let's see. Now, these are my higher time frame levels, and these are liquidity levels based on the candles. There's quite a lot of liquidity at the top here, excuse me, and a significant one is this yearly level, which hasn't been breached yet. So there's quite a lot of liquidity up there, which needs volume to get through before the all-time high. And then if you look at if you're looking at the candles, you can clearly see that that yearly level that I marked corresponds with the top of these this yearly candle. There's one below us as well. What I do like about the way the price is moving is that on this current year, after last year printed, which was a bit of a weak year, it has come back to the 50% mark there, and it looks like it's offering support to go back up. It'd be very weird to go back down now that it's hit support and it's going back up. So it does look like it's on its beginning journey to go up. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go to the moon, because you are going into resistance, and it's going to require volume to get through the resistance. So those are my high time frame levels. I've got my these are my range pools. Let me go back down to, so I've tried to break up the price action into ranges, and we've got our overall range. So our overall range, we're in the range. We have the value area high here, which is going to act as resistance. Lower down, we have the point of control. I think it's very unlikely we go down there because I'll explain why. Point of control, I'll just ignore the value area low. Actually, I'll mark it just in case it moves. It's good to mark it just in case it moves so you can see if it's moved. So these are my volume levels. And delete that. And so these of all of the kind of the way the prices move, these are like the mini ranges in between. And so you can see the way the price is moving, that we're struggling to get back into this range here. See that? So we're kind of above our current range, which is good. So we had a little bit of a failed auction from this lower range. That's what you want to see. So it is acting, this whole lower part is acting as support, but we are also into resistance here. So we're in a bit of a kind of like a no man's land when it comes to the price. That's kind of where we are. And this is higher range as well to bear in mind. And so the other thing that I did was a higher time frame full fib pool. And so you have to take that from the all-time low to the all-time high, because this is how it went from here to here. Yeah. And as you can see, that every single major fib level, including the 50% markup, which is the 50% level of this whole range, is acting as an SR flip on the higher time frame. So you've got the 236 here, you've got the 382 here, you see that, and then you've got the 50% mark here, and then you've got the golden pocket here, here, and here. Okay, so naturally what you're expecting is a few things. First and foremost, we're into resistance, and the big resistance to deal with now is going to be this 50% mark, which is at about 10.5 cents. It's not far above us. I mean, in percentage terms, it's far, 12%. But in terms of price action and the overall range, it's very close. So buying now is like buying into resistance type thing scenario. You kind of, what you really want is you want the price to get back up there and test it as support. You want to see that. If you see that, then you're basically buying a reclaimed higher time frame level, and you're buying on support, and you have an easy invalidation. And the invalidation is that if you go back up, claim it as support, and then fall back underneath, that's your invalidation. You don't want that to happen. Once you're above it, you want to flip it into support. Losing support after reclaiming it as support is weakness followed strength followed by weakness. Yeah. And then it'd be easy to see strength return, because then that would be just going back up again. Yeah. So it can happen, but it's easy to see weakness and strength when you have these major SR flips where the price has to contend with to get through. But the key to trading in this scenario would be to have an invalidation. So technically there is one on the table, but it's quite a wide one. So technically this lower wick is your invalidation. You've got quite a large a wide invalidation. Traders don't really like large invalidations. They want small invalidations. And so naturally, it'd be a lot better to wait for the price to go higher somehow, flip that into support, and then you have a really easy invalidation here, really tight invalidation. And then for a trader, that becomes a really profitable trade because they'll just take it all the way up to the 382. That would be the trade idea. Buying higher, but buying higher on a confirmed SR flip of a higher time frame fib level. That would be a much better trade. Or as a trader, they're looking for lower, and you don't necessarily aim for the golden pocket here. What you could potentially do as a trader is potentially you could look for another swing failure of these lows. That's an acceptable entry, but you're buying straight into resistance. That's something to bear in mind. But I mean, it happened here already. I think this is not extremely likely, but you know, it's an opportunity if it did present itself. And obviously the better entry would be a nice back test into the golden pocket on the higher time frame. You wouldn't necessarily catch a falling knife. You'd possibly look for a reclaim and then an invalidation like that. That's kind of a better trade than just buying now. Obviously, if people are looking to invest and then it's a long hold, then you could dollar cost average in, because we are over a higher time frame support level, which is this golden pocket. So that to the lows of this is only 48% lower, and to the golden pocket to the top of it is only 33% lower. And we are actually above this range value area. So it's not a bad place to start accumulating. But you just have to bear in mind we are underneath resistance, and I haven't yet seen crazy volume come into this. We had a little bit of volume towards the end of this little rally, but so far it's pretty average or subpar volume. So we have not seen the crazy volume that you need. And then the other thing to bear in mind is that we have liquidity to clear. So in this previous range, this push up only managed to clear the liquidity up to this point. So anything above that point, there's going to be liquidity in this range. And if we do manage to get up somehow and flip this 382 into support, then the move up will be quite quick, because this move down was really quick. And then you're into this higher time frame resistance level that compounds with the golden pocket of this from up here down to here. That's the golden pocket. That is it. That is coming into a higher time frame fib level and the value area low of this range, where there's a lot of trap liquidity. So there's going to be resistance there for sure. There's going to be resistance there, and it's possible that the price would just reject. And then if it doesn't reject, in any case, for whatever reason, getting back up into that range would be a sign of strength. Flipping that would be a sign of strength, but then you also now have to work your way through these liquidity levels higher up, and there's quite a few of them: monthly, yearly, weekly, and then you have the all-time high. So there's a little bit of work to do for this token. It's really going to require a lot of bullishness and a little bit of volume, and the real action is when you get into price discovery. So up until price discovery, there's a lot of work to be done on this token, I think. Doesn't mean it can't do it. It just means there is a little bit of work to be done. And the best entry right now that I can foresee, like if I was looking at picking up this token, which I'm not, the best entry that I would look at would be to flip this level into support. That would be a good entry, assuming we don't lose it. Like, it has to be a flip, and then you can trade that all the way up to 17 cents. That would be big resistance. It could just come back down. Then you can pick it up again to go back up. But if you can flip that into support, then the move up to the next level should be really quick, up to 34. Then you're into major resistance again. So there are levels of support and resistance that the price has to contend with to get back up into the higher prices. And then the other thing to consider is that the BTC chart is not looking amazing right now. It's not fantastic. We are in a range. This is, the whole thing is a range, just one big range. We're at the low of the range, but we are slightly outside of the range and to the underside of the value area low. It's not where you want to be. You want to be in the value area, and if we get back into the value area, that would be a good opportunity to start buying, because now you're reclaiming the value area low back into the value area. That probably will coincide with the USD chart flipping possibly that 10.7 cents level into support as well. But then we have a shit ton of trap liquidity here. It was only cleared up to this point. So anything above this point, you're into more volume liquidity, which is basically this little range here, and maybe some of this range, possibly. So there's going to be resistance. Basically, you go up and you're into resistance. With a swing failure of that high, this price would do that and come right back down. It's possible and probable, actually. Dare I say it. And what you really want is you want this point of control in this BTC chart to move down. And in order to for this point of control to move down, you need to get up into this area, put in some volume, flip this high volume node into support, and with the increasing volume, you want this point of control to now move down, and then you want the price to flip that point of control into support with this previous high acting as a support level. And that will be a really nice price action to go up to the next level, which will be, again, this in the future, this previous point of control. And then you've got more trap liquidity in this range. And so again, probably resistance again. So we have a little bit of work to get to the higher prices. And really, for any token to break out in a significant parabolic way, you just have to be in price discovery. You have to be in price discovery. The price has to get up there. There's more liquidity there. Get above the highs, and that's when you're going to get the move. Hasn't happened yet with this token. You can see that in the previous market, there was a nice swing failure of this highs here, and then it just sold off. And so there is a little bit of trap liquidity all the way down this. You've got trap liquidity. It's going to be quite difficult to get back up. I think, just looking at this, without trying to determine the future, because no one can, I think it's more likely than not, rather than we potentially get a breakout of the highs, we just end up ranging. We just end up in this bull market going up, take the liquidity from the highs one more time, and come right back down again, potentially, and back into the range. Potentially, I'm thinking that's more likely than not. You know, you could just do the same thing, and so you could end up in just one continuous range. I don't see any kind of indication here that would suggest we're gonna stop ranging. And I think to get to get to the highs through all of this liquidity here and here, by the time you get to the highs, that's it. It's already required a lot of work to get there. You kind of want the work to be easy so that when it gets to the highs, that's when the move begins. So there's a little bit of work, and I think that's going to correspond with this, but you never know. I mean, who knows? There is an impulse to be had between here and here. With increasing in volume, getting through these levels, you could, once you get to the all-time high, you can hold it, then I think the easiest way to do a target, the easiest way, without really thinking about it, is just a nice range extension, an extension on the fib extension from that pivot to this low here. You've got your targets, 2.159, 3.30, and then extended will be 6.09. I think it's very hard in price discovery for people to take profit. So you just have to just be systematic and just take your profit. If you can't get to the higher level, that's fine. You've taken profit, and then if the price does that, and it just does this, as soon as you come back underneath the all-time high, you exit, because that won't look good. And at least then you've taken profit higher up, and then you're scaling out of the highs with your final confirmation being coming back underneath the all-time high, because you don't, when you go above the all-time high, you don't really want to come back underneath the all-time high. What you want to do, if you go back above the all-time, go above it, you find resistance and come back down, you want to hold it as support to go up. That's what you want to do. So in a gist, that's kind of CRO, I think. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Just to give you an idea of the liquidity levels and the resistance levels. Let me do it. These are the levels. These are the volume levels. So you can kind of see where we are. And then if you put the fib levels as well, that's the 6.6, the 618, and then you coincide that with these levels as well. So this is kind of where your lines of resistance and support are. So the moment we're kind of, there's a lot of resistance. All right, did that help? Yeah, I know it's tested that level